Hello and welcome back to our Shropshire garden. It is very, very early February. It is a cold day, but it is a sunny day, hence the Ray-Bans are on today. I've got my cup of coffee from my Virgin Voyages mug. Oh my goodness, I love the garden this time of year. It's my favourite type of weather today, but oh, how I wish I was on a cruise ship right now. These months are like the darkest, coldest, greyest time of year. It's not my favourite. January and February, I could quite happily discard when it comes to gardening. However, we do have the hope, we do have the optimism of better things to come. I join you today for my gardening vlog, where there hasn't actually been a lot of gardening going on. We've been incredibly busy. I've been incredibly busy. We've been away, we're going away this weekend, so nothing is really going to change in the garden anytime soon. I will tell you a few things that I will need to do. I wanted this video to be more about sort of talking, responding to comments. By the way, thank you so much to everyone who watched my previous gardening video. I haven't made a specific gardening video for a very, very long time. So thank you to everyone who showed interest. Thank you to everyone who sent over your constructive comments. But there were some things that I think I needed to talk about and need to discuss. And some of those things are all about having an incredibly small micro garden. Now, to a lot of you, this garden might not seem terribly small, but in terms of homesteading, even on a micro homesteading level, this is tiny, weeny, incy wincy in terms of that. So what I want to do is show myself and show everyone watching what you can actually achieve in such a small space. I don't think there are many gardeners out there trying to do homesteading and self-sufficiency in such a small space. And I know that you can have so much productivity from a small space. People do balcony gardening, for example. But I have the space that I have to work with, and it's not terribly big, which means that things aren't always going to be done in the ideal way. I would do things incredibly differently if I had a much bigger space. Give me an acre and oh my goodness, I will show you what I can do. But we have this space to work with. So a lot of you commented on because in the last video I planted my apple trees by my mini family orchard, and I planted my raspberries, my thornless blackberry and my gooseberry. So what I decided to do, as you can see now, so it's about 1 p.m. midwinter. The sun starts over here and it sets over there. So my sunny border is where I've planted the fruit trees. So that was the number one consideration that I had, was to make sure that they got enough sun. Some of you suggested that I put the fruit trees and the bushes on this back fence. The problem is they would get the sun this time of day, but in the evening, the trees behind, or when they're full of leaf, they cast so much shadow, so they would lose a lot of the sort of evening sun, late afternoon, evening sun, depending on the time of year. So that wasn't a consideration over there. It's not really a good spot. If those trees weren't here, it would be a perfect spot. But as it is, I've got no control over the trees. So I chose my sunny border. Now I want a mixed border. Obviously I'm doing permaculture gardening, so mixing flowering plants in with fruit trees or whatever is the way that I wanted to go. So I made a conscious decision to plant more of a kind of a self-sufficient fruit hedgerow rather than having individual bushes that you can walk around and pick. So a lot of you suggested, well, are they too close? Well, questioned, are they too close to the fence? Technically, yes, they are. In an ideal world, if I had all the space available, I would have the fruit trees and the fruit bushes have their own area. They would be proud of any of the boundaries. They'd have space to walk around, so I could pick the berries and harvest from all angles. That would be the ideal. But unfortunately, I don't have that luxury. So I planted them with the knowledge that when they grow, they would kind of form this hedgerow that I could walk along and forage. So that was why I've spaced them out as I have, and I've put them a little bit proud of the fence. And I'm quite aware that I won't be able to get to the back of them to harvest, which is another kind of plays to the strength of permaculture gardening, because one of the other principles is to give back as well. So if I can't reach some of the fruit, if it's at the back of the bush, if it goes to the animals, you know, and they enjoy it and they can get at it and the insects and whatever, then I'm quite happy for that, because that plays into permaculture gardening perfectly. So for me, it's going to have to be ideal, but no, it's not technically ideal. And I was fully aware of that at the time of planting. With regards to the apple trees, again, in an ideal world, they would be in the middle of the garden. Unfortunately, because I want to get a lot of productivity from the garden, to I don't want the trees to cast shadow onto my growing space. So I did some very careful consideration. I planted them proud enough of the boundary so that when the trunks reach their eventual thickness, it shouldn't bump into anything. So there's plenty of space around for trunk expansion and trunk growth, I should say. So that's fine. Plus they are on the small rootstock, so the roots aren't going to go crazy massive. I think I've chosen correctly there. Also, I've spaced them out so that the eventual canopy is taken into consideration. So believe it or not, everything has had a lot of careful consideration. Now, some of you pointed out, well, what if the canopy grows over the next door neighbour's garden? You're not going to be able to prune and maintain. You're not going to be able to harvest. My answer to that is we have amazing neighbours here. It really is a village community location. People are not funny about about sharing things. Just like my neighbour was perfectly happy to lend his drill. In fact, he actually took my pots and drilled the holes in where my blackberries are going to go. Not my blackberries, my blueberries, where they're going to go. So everyone is extremely neighbourly and friendly in the area where we are. It's kind of like stepping back, 60 years when everyone, could leave their doors open. We don't leave our doors open, but you know what I mean? It's that friendly village neighbourly feel. So our neighbour is perfectly happy for us to maintain from his side and also to harvest from his side as well. And he's not likely to move anytime soon. It's been his family home since he was 16. So that's not a concern. I think if you didn't have such good neighbours, you didn't have that, I think that would be a major concern with growing trees, and especially, fruiting trees in an incredibly small space. So it might be a concern for some people, but it's not a concern for me. And I think it will be ideal. And it means that I'm not giving up, as you can see, a lot of the sunny patch, which eventually I may put some more raised beds or something of that nature. Now, let's tackle the bull by the horns. I haven't put up any more raised beds between this video and the previous one. You saw what an absolute kerfuffle it was. Plus the weather's not been very nice, plus we've been really busy. So I haven't really put any more up, but I do plan to. I also plan to purchase some bags of topsoil so that I can fill, and then I might get a couple of bags of manure to go on top. One thing that I would really love to do is to compost, but I think that's a project for a little bit further down the line. I want to get the structure of the garden ready for planting for this season. I haven't sowed any seeds either. There's only a few things that you can sow in this climate, this time of year. As you can see today, the bird bath is completely frozen. So, trying to plant anything or sow anything when you haven't got a heated greenhouse and you haven't got space in the house for windowsills, it's not really going to happen. So realistically, I'm not going to be sowing anything dramatically until about March, really, and then probably even later for stuff that's going to be in the ground. I think one of you discussed potatoes as well, that you had success growing potatoes in those potato sacks, or those like potato planters. That was exactly my plan. That was exactly what I was going to do, and it was really great to hear that you had success with yours. I plan to maybe have 4 or 5 different potato sacks with earlies and sort of main crop and lates. So that's what I intend to do with that. Although I do know that you can start chitting your potatoes. That is chit, C-H-I-T, round about now as well, if you really want to get stuck in early. But like I say, I've been incredibly busy. And that's kind of it. I just wanted to sort of address those main things. Right, let's go and show you a job that I do need to do quite imminently because things have been springing into action. Of course, I'm talking about my roses. So they've already started sprouting, and actually quite a lot for this time of year. So normally in the UK, it's a good time to prune your roses, January, February. So it is a good time, but I can't believe the growth that's come on. So I don't want to leave them too much longer. Normally with my David Austin rose collection on the rose walk, I do prune quite heavy, quite hard. So I normally go back to quite a neat, short goblet type shape. I have made some previous videos on how to prune roses, but there is a lot of growth here on all of them. I mean, if I go to a different variety, we have the same kind of growth. So I really do need to get pruning. I forgot to close out this vlog, so thank you if you've got this far. Yeah, I always look forward to your comments. So please, if you do have any comments on how I can adopt the principles of permaculture gardening in an incredibly small space, then please do let me know all your thoughts. I really do appreciate it. So thank you for watching. If you've enjoyed this vlog, please give it a big old thumbs up. Don't forget to share on social media, and of course do hit that bell, ding ding, so that you know whenever I upload a new video. So from me, mwah, to you all my lovies, and goodbye.